Okay. Okay.
Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order of the Board of Selectmen, the Board of Finance Joint Subcommittee, Wednesday, March 13, 2019 at 6 p.m. Colchester Town Hall, meeting room 3. Number 2, review the charges at, did you have one?
Thank you.
Board of Selectmen, Board of Finance Joint Subcommittee charge, March 13, 2019. 1, the subcommittee will consist of 2 bipartisan members from the Board of Selectmen and 2 from the bipartisan members from the Board of Finance. Number 2, the charge is to draft a joint policy between the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance that will specify the process for preparing the town budget for the 2019-2020 fiscal year. The policy purpose is to solve an immediate issue of the language charged during the revision of the charter, which eliminated the word developed in section C, 6101, section C. Okay, number 3, you all received in the last week or so the review of the information of the town council.
Question. Typically, when we've done the joint committees, there's not been a quorum of any board. So, past the charge, I think it would, no offense, it would be for you to turn it over to the 4 members of the subcommittee.
I'm happy with that. So, Rosemary, seeing you're the vice chair of the Board of Selectmen, I would turn this over to you, but I'll just sit out there.
You don't have a copy of the town council thing, do you, with you?
Pardon?
The town council, I did not bring that with me.
And I would raise the question, is there anything that we need to review about it because we've all seen it
We've all
already?
seen it, no, okay, yeah, I was just gonna go on that, but I just wanted to make sure I had a copy if I
So
needed
can I,
it.
can I?
You can leave.
Here? Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I'll stick around.
Taco night?
Taco night, you're right.
Oh, it must be Wednesday, right? Okay. So the item number 4 is the development of a memorandum of understanding regarding fiscal year 2019-2020 budget process. And I know that Stan sent out a possible motion and Rob sent out a revision of the budget process that's in the book. That's also part of the proposed motion. So we can, I don't know, do you want to put the motion on the floor and then we could revise Rob's?
Well, I sent mine out because I wasn't sure what we wanted to accomplish.
Right, but, well,
Yeah, could I put a frame
Sure.
of thinking about it on this to channel my friend from Iowa, Chris Sparks? I was looking at the MOU being a policy statement. I very much appreciated the work that you did, sort of as a procedural. And that's something that we'll have some conversation after. Was looking for that overall policy statement that was as simple as possible and as close to what we've had. And consistent with advice from Attorney Britter. And it was advice, so.
I would think we want to solve this problem immediately so that you can just move forward. And we can all move forward.
And in thinking too, Rob, of it as procedural, gives the possibility for there to be some variance based on need, because if that becomes the policy statement, it's locked in.
No, I follow. You know what he's saying?
Of course you do.
Were you going to put that on the floor?
Are we going to be discussing Rob's budget development process first, or are we looking at Stan's proposed memorandum? Because I have
Well,
things I would like to discuss both of them.
Well, obviously, we're going to discuss both of them, Andreas. That's why we're having a meeting.
I don't need your sarcasm, Rosemary. Thank you.
Andreas, this is going to be a civil meeting. There are not going to be attacks of people. We are here to make a process go forward so that the town of Colchester and the people we represent can have a budget and vote on a budget. And we need to stop all of that right now, okay? So let's get down to work, because that's why we're here.
Okay.
We're a committee to work together,
Thank you.
okay? So, if, my feeling, looking at both of these, is if we want to do both of them, we can, because this is almost identical to what's in the book, Stan, so I don't know how you feel about that, but in order to even start a discussion, I think you have to put the motion on the floor.
I would move that the draft language of the memorandum of understanding be adopted as the policy statement to go forward from what would be the Board of Selectmen, would, on recommendation of this subcommittee, to go forward to the Board of Selectmen for approval.
And the Board of Finance? Or do you need the Board of Finance to do
Well,
that?
it would go to both to
boards.
vote, but
Okay.
it would be both of them, but the policy really comes out of the Board of Selectmen.
Right, sure.
But we need to
Right.
go to vote.
Right,
Thank you.
okay. So let's just put that on.
I'll second it.
Okay, so let's put that on the floor and let's discuss that
All
now,
right.
because this does reference the second piece. Okay, so, which is, and I did bring the budget book, so I have, you have the
Well,
actual.
I also made four copies of
Okay.
what's in the budget book.
Okay, that works as well too. Okay. All right, Andreas, so you said you had some,
Yeah, where should we begin? Should we begin with the budget
Let's-
process or the memorandum?
let's
Well,
just,
I'm wondering if we should just talk about the differences of the two and whether we should vote on one and then discuss the other. Or whether, you have comments on both?
Sure.
Okay.
I would suggest starting with the draft MOU.
Yeah, that's the motion on the floor. So
Right,
let's
the
talk
motion.
about that first.
As the policy,
Right.
because it is the policy statement.
Sure.
right, okay, go ahead.
Rob, would you like to begin? Or, I know you had a question.
Well, I like this, what I liked about it was the simplicity of it. It references a specific area in the budget book that pertains to the question at hand. I think with the other, what I tempted to do was just look at that and say, well, that doesn't include all the steps in there. How far do we want to go tonight in terms of laying out what, this is what the process is. The one thing that I had a question on, because it seemed to be the last line, in terms of, we're working together, and we're talking about either if the language changes in the charter, this is ended because it's been replaced.
Absolutely, right.
Now the other, and I understand why you're making the policy because you're the policy-making board. So therefore, if there's any policy change, but it seems to me too. Maybe there should be a time, it's kind of like, well, 3 weeks from now you could say, well, geez, we had to change our heart.
And point well taken, but my consideration was not encumbering a future Board of Selectmen with a decision that this board may make. And that's pretty typical in the consideration for policy-making boards, Board of Selectmen, the legislature in terms of not binding a future legislative body beyond the term of the existing legislative body that makes the policy votes on it.
Well, what about if we put something in there that basically at least said that the agreement would stay in effect at least until November of 2019?
Rob, I just feel such no trust at all.
Then why does the line have to be in there?
Okay, when I read it, I was reading it like, if the charter doesn't pass, this gives us a mechanism already in place to continue it.
Well, it doesn't, I mean,
It says unless amended.
Or ended.
Well, it's in, because,
or maybe it should just, or
let's
just
just say
say amended.
amended. In other words, I didn't read it that way. I just read it as an opportunity for us to protect the town in some way that if, the charter didn't pass, then there would be a mechanism already agreed to, we wouldn't have to meet again, there would be a process in place, and we would be serving the people of Colchester.
Well,
So
how would we-
if the word ended is...
Well, how would
I don't have a-
how would we be doing that?
Because we would have agreed on a budget process. Like, we would have agreed on the budget process. What is the process of the budget? And if we agree on this, we have a process in place, okay? And maybe we have, God forbid it doesn't get corrected at the November, at least we have a process in place that the policymaking board of the town and the Board of Finance have agreed this is the process that the budget should be handled. I thought it was a protection. I didn't look at it from that perspective.
Well, I mean, if the goal is to continue the process that we've always had, why would we be ending that? I mean, this is a process we've had for 20, 30, 40 years.
Take out the word end.
I'm perfectly, yeah, I was just thinking of those kinds of contingencies
Right.
and not wedded to the or ended.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, you certainly could create a new anytime you want, you could create a new policy to replace this. So I'm just wondering, we're entering into an agreement to put everything back the way it was because the word develop, people didn't understand the impact on that. And so we're trying to put the process back the way it was. So why have something in there that says we're gonna change the process? I think there should be, if we're gonna change the process, then all the boards should get together in the future and say, we want to change the process, not that the Board of Selectmen ends the budget process that we've had for 20, 30
Stan's already said he would take the words "or ended" out, so it would just say unless amended by vote.
Well, I'm not comfortable with amended either. Go ahead.
Can I chime in on this? Yeah, I have a hard time supporting amended or ended by the Board of Selectmen. It takes away the checks and balances of our town. Because the Board of Selectmen could one day say, well, we're not happy with something that's going on through the budget process, and what we have written, the process is over. And I'm not saying that you guys are going to do that, but the next Board of Selectmen could do that.
And my concern was about encumbering the next Board of Selectmen, so.
Sure, but if something has been going well for 30, 40 years, why mess with it? Why don't we leave it, this memorandum of understanding shall remain in effect until it is superseded by revision of section C, 601C of the town charter. We need to have the checks and balances in place, and I'm afraid that they might be lifted at a whim at any time.
Well, I understand that you might be concerned about that. I don't think that's how we've operated at a whim. It's been a much more deliberate process than that for a good period of time.
Well, that could always change,
But
though.
if-
That could always change.
But I would certainly accept a friendly amendment.
And what is it? So, what is it?
Remain in effect, shall remain in effect until superseded by revision.
That's fine. That's good.
Yeah.
So that puts into effect a reset back to the language that was in place.
Yeah, and I think at this point, although maybe those other changes are needed there, I think that's a separate process.
Yeah, because I started having a lot of questions, but I do have, which I will leave with you, just some corrections. Sentences that don't make any sense.
Okay.
All right. So I wrote them out.
Yeah, the teacher and me had to
Right.
do some editing.
All right, so we have a motion on the floor. And the motion is the memorandum of understanding that's before you, and I'm going to read it out loud because people in the room do not have a copy of this. So the memorandum of understanding says, the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance agree by majority vote of each board that the budget process for the fiscal year 2019-2020 shall be the same as that which occurred under the immediate past town charter. This process is described on page 49, Town of Colchester 2018-2019 adopted budget document as follows. The First Selectmen's and the Board of Education's proposed budgets and the capital improvement plan are finalized and submitted for review by the Board of Finance. Budget meetings are held to examine the proposed budgets. The Board of Finance may adjust town department budgets and can adjust only the bottom line total of the Board of Education budget. The memorandum of understanding shall remain in effect, superseded by revision of section C, 601C of the town charter.
Just add until in there, until superseded.
Until, okay, thank you. Any further discussion? No. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, the motion has passed. We have a motion to adjourn, and we'll deal with this at another time.
Yeah, I think.
Motion to adjourn?
Yeah, I'd like the opportunity to really read it.
Yeah, I think there's a lot in there, and I think
Right.
that, what all that was in time was to fill in the missing pieces, that can be done
Right.
later.
A motion to adjourn, two people?
I make a motion, you make.
I guess I'll make a motion, yeah.
A second.
Go ahead.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm just gonna...
Go get your taco.